Okay, so it is Friday night or the weekend, and you've been making meals all week for the family, but you just want to have something fun, like some fun snack foods or appetizers for your movie night, or maybe you're gonna have some friends over to play cards or something like that. So today's video is all about some fun like appetizers or like little finger foods that are gonna be so delicious. I'm super excited to share these with you. Well, if we haven't met before, my name is Ange, welcome, and this is the Menu Made Kitchen. Okay, so this first recipe I'm gonna be sharing, I feel is like the perfect thing to have on a Friday night or a game night, because who does not like anything taco flavored or like those Mexican spices? These little mini taco bites are so addictive, like you will watch them disappear in minutes. They are easy to make, they're super delicious, and it's super fun to be able to customize with your favorite taco toppings. I know you're gonna love this recipe. All right, so we're gonna be making our 1-bite taco cups, which I'm so excited about. I love little appetizers like this that are just kind of like 1-biters. So I've got my skillet here on like a medium heat, and I just added a little bit of avocado oil, or you can do olive oil. And then I've got 1 pound of ground turkey. You can obviously do ground beef, but this is what I have on hand, so this is what I'm gonna use. I'm just gonna get the ground turkey crumbled, and we wanna get it cooked until it's no longer pink. And then we're gonna add in a little bit of onion and our taco seasoning. Oh man, this onion is seriously, it is fresh. My eyes are watering. I'm just doing like maybe a half a cup of chopped up onion, and I want to make sure that the pieces are pretty small, because obviously our little taco cups are very, very small. So we want to make sure that the ground turkey is nice and crumbled and the onion is nice and fine. Okay, our ground turkey is pretty much cooked. There's still a few little pink spots in there. So I'm gonna add in this onion. I'm gonna cook this just another couple minutes or so until the onions are softened, and then we get to add in our taco seasoning. So what I have for my taco seasoning, it's a homemade version. I have it on my website, I've shared it before, but if you don't have that, you can definitely use a packet of taco seasoning, whatever kind you like or prefer. I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons, or like I said, just do a whole packet of seasoning. And I like to toast the taco seasoning for maybe 30 seconds. I really feel like it just gives it that much more flavor. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of water. I think the UPS driver's here. So I'm just gonna let this cook another like 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna turn the heat down just a little bit. And we're gonna pop our little chip cups in the oven just to toast for about 3 minutes before we fill them. All right, and so what I've got going on over here is I just lined my sheet pan with parchment paper, and then I just covered or filled it with as many of the chips as possible. And I just used the Tostitos scoops. I'm gonna pop these in the oven at 350, like I said, for about 3 minutes. Okay, our taco meat looks perfect, and I've actually turned the heat off. So now I'm gonna add in some Mexican blend cheese. This is just pre-shredded from the grocery store to make it really easy. I'm gonna do about a half a cup of this cheese because we are gonna be sprinkling a little bit more on top. But what this does is it just kind of helps like bind the meat together a little bit, so it makes it much easier for filling. And then that way each bite is super cheesy, and it just makes it more delicious in my opinion. You could also add a little bit of salsa to this, but you just wanna be careful with how much liquid is in your meat mixture, because we are putting them in essentially tortilla chips. You don't want them to get soggy before they get eaten. So also, if you use ground beef, really make sure you drain off the fat well. Again, that way the grease doesn't make the bottom of the chip super soggy. Okay, so I got my little assembly line here. I've got my chips, my meat mixture, and then I've got my cheese. So I'm just gonna take like a little small kind of spoonful. I definitely wanna make sure that each chip has enough meat mixture, and just plop it in there. This is probably the most time-consuming part, honestly, is filling these little cups, but once they're filled and you bake them off, it's so worth it. Okay, I don't know what it is about like little bites like this. They're just so fun. It's so fun to eat like little snacky appetizer stuff. Okay, I'm just going for it. Simple, delicious food. That's all I have to say. So easy, not a lot of fussing. I love these. And actually, when I was kind of getting some inspiration for this recipe, one that I found is they used the little like phyllo cups, but you can only find those usually around the holidays. I went to 2 different stores and I could not find them anywhere, but I love the tortilla chip. I think that these are so fun for any kind of party night, game night, Friday night, movie night, whatever. So yummy. Okay, we got to try the sour cream. That is always where it's at. Maybe a little hot sauce. You could really get creative with these. And if you don't like tomatoes, sprinkle a little lettuce over the top, or some fresh avocado, or like make some guacamole and put little dollops of guacamole on top. I mean, so versatile and delicious, and I cannot wait for you guys to try these. Okay, so for our potato chip chicken strips, which are gonna be so yummy, I'm gonna actually put my dredging ingredients in a couple of big Ziploc bags just to make cleanup that much easier. I actually have a chicken strip recipe on my website and I can link it down below. And I use Ziploc bags and it's just so easy. I love how convenient that is. And again, I don't have to do extra dishes. So in one of our bags here, I'm gonna add about a cup of sour cream. And then we've got some seasonings here. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon each of cayenne, paprika, some kosher salt, onion powder, and garlic powder. So we'll add that into the sour cream. And then I'm just gonna use my spoon just to kind of mix it up a little bit. It does not have to be perfect. Once we add the chicken and we mush everything together, the chicken will get coated perfectly. And the reason we're not adding like a ton of salt is because we're using potato chips, which are gonna be salty enough. So, okay, that looks pretty good. And then I've got a couple packages of chicken tenderloins. I just think tenderloins are the very best for chicken strips, but you can definitely do like chicken breasts and just cut those up into small pieces. But I found these at the grocery store and they looked really good. And plus I really like this brand. So I'm gonna add both of these packages. It's almost 2 pounds into our sour cream bag, and then just start mushing everything together, and then we can get our potato chip bag going. And then for our potato chips, I'm gonna use the Kettle sea salt chips. I already had a bag of these, and this is a 7.5 ounce bag, and it's almost full. So I've only used just a little bit of these chips. And so I'm just gonna crush these right into this bag, but I am gonna transfer them over to the Ziploc bag, just so I can see the chicken being coated with the chips. I don't think that this bag is quite big enough to put all this chicken in here. So I'm gonna get these crushed up just basically into pretty fine crumbs. It doesn't have to be perfect. You definitely want this to be kind of crusty and have that nice chicken strip crunchiness to it. Okay, and you know what? I think I'm actually gonna add some panko crumbs to this because I think I needed that whole bag. So just make sure that you get like a full 7.5 ounce bag, maybe even a little bit bigger. But I'm gonna grab some panko crumbs and add it to it and it'll be just fine. I think I'm just gonna do like a 1/2 cup more. That should be fine. Add that in. Give it a little shake. Okay, I just wanted to shift my camera around so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I have a large sheet pan here that I've lined with foil, and then I like to place a cookie sheet on the top of that. That way when my chicken strips are baking, the air can kind of circulate through them and the bottoms won't get soggy. They'll maintain like their crispiness. So basically I'm just gonna take a chicken strip here, and I'm gonna try and keep one hand kind of clean to make it easy. And I'm just gonna dredge it in my potato chip mixture. And just kind of press it down, sprinkle some chips over the top, make sure that it's pretty well coated. It doesn't have to have like a super thick layer of breading on there. But that sour cream is really just gonna give it such a nice flavor. And then, of course, the potato chips, and then I just lay it right on my sheet pan like that. This is such a great recipe to make if you're gonna be having company over, or if it's just you're just serving your family, because the chicken strips can actually set out for, you know, about 2 hours, and they're still good even at room temperature. So if you don't get to them right away when they're hot out of the oven, they'll still be good, so people can kind of munch on them at different points during the evening. I actually had a client recently, she was telling me that she had bought some potato chips at like Trader Joe's or something, and they were like a flavored kind of potato chip, maybe like chili lime or taco flavor, something like that. And she didn't really love them. She's like, I didn't really like the flavor of them, but I wanted to be able to use them up. I felt guilty just throwing them out. So I crushed them up and I made chicken strips with them. And I was like, that is so brilliant. Like, how many times have you gotten chips before and you're like, these really aren't that great? Crush them up and use them as like a breading. I just think that that's so cool. I love it when people share ideas like that with me. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, I lived 40 plus years and why didn't I think of that? All right, check these out. Don't these look so delicious? I'm so excited. They're just perfect. Okay, so I am gonna actually spray some avocado oil over the top of these. You can also brush it with butter, but I just didn't want to add more like greasiness to them. I want these to be nice and light. So I've got some avocado oil here spray, and then I'm gonna spray one side and then we'll flip them over and spray the other. That way I don't have to do that midway through while they're baking. Okay, so I'm gonna put these in my 425-degree oven and I'm gonna bake them about 25 to 30 minutes because these are pretty good sized tenderloins. I'll see if I need to flip them halfway through, but I'm hoping I don't need to. You basically want them to be about 165 cooked on the inside. So we'll get these in the oven and then we get to taste them. All right. I just love chicken strips so much. They're such a fun thing to do. And I will tell you that definitely doing the chicken tenderloins will help keep the chicken nice and moist and juicy, but also that sour cream does the same thing. These are so crispy, but I can tell that they're just tender and they're not like overdone at all. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of barbecue sauce. You hear that crunch? I love that I don't have to fry these in oil and I can just put these in the oven and have like a crispy baked chicken strip. It makes cleanup easy. My house doesn't smell like oil. These are fantastic. I know you're gonna love these and your guests. They're just so, so delicious. And remember, one thing that you can do, because I know all ovens are a little bit different, if your chicken strips get to the end of the cooking time and they're not quite as crispy as you want them, just pop them under the broiler for 1 or 2 minutes. You can even flip them on both sides and they will be perfect. All right, so for our baked potato dip, this is such an easy recipe. I'm really excited to try this. This does not actually have baked potatoes in it. We're actually gonna be using some waffle fries and potato chips for dipping. So we're gonna start with a 16-ounce container of sour cream. This is full fat sour cream. Okay, so 2 cups of sour cream, and then we also have 4 ounces of softened cream cheese. You definitely want your cream cheese to be like super soft because we want it to mix really well with the sour cream. And this is just gonna give it some extra creaminess and thickness. I've got some ranch seasoning mix. I have a little bit of homemade leftover, but you can use the packet of ranch seasoning. I'm gonna do about 2 teaspoons. This will just give it some really yummy, like garlicky flavor. Kind of that ranch seasoning flavor. I'm actually just going to start with 1.5 teaspoons and then I'll taste it and see if we need to add more. I'm going to do about 3/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. And then we're going to add in some green onions. We'll just do about 1/4 cup. I want to reserve a little bit for the top. And then we've got some cheese. I have a whole cup of shredded cheddar cheese. So I'll add that in. So we're just gonna mix everything together until this is nice and combined. And then we are gonna be adding in some bacon, but I'm actually just gonna sprinkle the bacon over the top with a little bit more cheese and some green onion. I don't wanna mix the bacon in with the dip just because I want the bacon to maintain kind of that crispiness. Okay, I'm gonna give this a little taste. I wanna make sure that my seasonings are just right. That is so yummy. But I am gonna add just a little bit more of the ranch. This is perfect. So I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator and we're gonna let this set for about 2 hours, and then I'll transfer it into a smaller dish and we'll top it with bacon, cheese, and a little more green onion. And then we'll serve it with some waffle fries. This is just gonna be so good. So our dip has been in the refrigerator for actually more than a couple hours because I had to run an errand, but I transferred it into kind of this like wider bowl so that I could spread out the cheese and bacon and onion. So I've got 6 slices of cooked bacon here. I'm just gonna chop this up. We'll add that to the top along with our remaining cheese, which is about a 1/4 cup or maybe a couple tablespoons, and then I'll add a few more green onions. Okay, so traditionally baked potato dip is served with potato chips, but I was reading a reader's review on another recipe and she said that she served it with waffle fries, and so I was like, that's genius. And it would feel more like a meal, even though this is kind of like appetizers, but I could have just this for dinner. The waffle fries and this dip, I feel like I'm eating like a deconstructed baked potato almost. Okay, so we're gonna try it with the chip first. And I bought the kettle potato chips because I feel like the Lay's, the thin ones, wouldn't stand up to the dip because it does get a little bit firm in the refrigerator. I mean, you could serve this with Doritos. It would be delicious that way. This is so good. You can really taste the bacon, that little bit of green onion, but that creamy sour cream and cream cheese together. Oh man, so good. Okay, wait, we gotta try with the waffle fry real quick. So these are just like frozen waffle fries that you can get in the freezer section, and I baked them until they were crispy because you definitely want them to stand up well with the dip and hold all that goodness. Check that out.
What in the crunch is going on here?
That is fantastic.
Can I try it? Mm-hmm. I'll have to get it myself. Hold on, put the phone down. What do I do?
You just dip it.
And
It's like
that too, or no?
It's like a baked potato.
Just this?
Yeah, you can have a chip. I think I got the waffle fries maybe a little bit too crispy. No? Okay. Okay, what do you think? Do you think this would be a good like Friday night appetizer to have on rotation? Mm-hmm. Put in a movie?
No.
All right, so for our mini pepperoni pizza puffs, we're gonna start by getting some of our just toppings prepared. I've got a sheet of puff pastry here that I'm letting thaw out. It's almost, I would say, half thawed, and then I can unfold it and then we can roll it out a little bit. But this is what you need to buy, the puff pastry sheets, and I'm just using one of the sheets. So this is gonna make 9 little pizza squares. So you can definitely do both packages if you're gonna be feeding more people. So I'm just gonna slice probably 9, I'll do like 9 slices of tomato. And I'm not gonna do them real super thin, but I don't want them super thick either because we kind of want them to like melt into the dough when they're baking and act as like the pizza sauce. So I'm just gonna get these sliced here. And I've got a little more than 9 slices, so that should be fine. Clean that up a little bit. Okay, and then I've got some fresh basil here. I'm just gonna kind of roughly chop this up. I'm gonna be adding some basil to the toppings before we bake it, and then I wanna reserve a little bit for after just because I like that kind of that bright green color. So I think I'm pretty much just gonna chop up all of this. This is just one of those packages that you can buy at the grocery store. So just chop up the basil. I'm also going to be adding a little bit of dried oregano because I really like that flavor on pizzas. All right, so we'll just throw our basil in here because I want to clear this board so that I can roll out my pastry sheet. These come together so quickly. This is such a great like little snack or appetizer to have on like a movie night or Friday night if you just want to have a few little kind of small finger foods. I don't think I'll need that one. Okay, I almost forgot. Before I roll that out, I'm actually going to make my little egg wash. So we're just going to crack one egg, and I'm just going to add a little tiny splash of water. We'll whisk it up, and then that's going to be kind of our little wash that we're going to brush over the top of the puff pastry. Okay, so let's see if this guy is ready. Usually it takes about, I would say anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes to kind of fully de-thaw, and it should open up pretty easily. So it still has just a little bit of firmness over here on this side, so I'm gonna let it set just about 10 more minutes, and then we'll come back and we can roll it out a little bit bigger than what it is right now. Okay, hopefully this is ready. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, I can't wait any longer because I'm really excited to try these. All right, so I'm basically just gonna kind of get rid of these seams. I'm not gonna make this a whole lot bigger. I just wanna smooth everything out. So I'm just gonna take my rolling pin here and just roll away until I've got kind of a nice smooth-ish surface. Good enough. I only extended it by probably an inch. So I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna kind of use these lines as my guidepost, and I'm just gonna take my knife and run it down that line there. This is so easy to work with, and I'm just gonna go across this way. All right, I don't think I cut that far enough in, so I'm actually just gonna make, we're gonna do 12 of these instead of 9. Which will be just fine. It doesn't really matter, honestly, as long as you've got kind of a wide surface to put the tomatoes and the pepperoni. So I think that that's perfect. I'll probably have to cut some more tomatoes though. All right, and then I'm just gonna kind of move these over because I need to bring my sheet pan over here. That is already starting to soften a little bit. So we gotta get these in the refrigerator because we want these to be nice and cold before we put them in the oven. Okay, so I've got my sheet pan here. I'm just gonna transfer all of these onto my sheet pan that I've lined with parchment paper. And some of these are a little bit bigger and smaller, but I'm just not even gonna worry about it. I think that sometimes having a more rustic look makes other home cooks feel a little better about their cooking too. Like, oh, you mean it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna top each one of my little pastry sheets with a slice of tomato. All right, got that on there. Then I'm gonna add 2 pepperoni slices. I've got these like turkey pepperonis. We like the turkey ones, but you can use any kind that you like. So I'm just gonna take 2 of these slices here and top it, put it right on top of the tomato. And I'm also gonna do a little sprinkling of oregano because like I said, I really like the flavor of oregano. That's pizza to me. Those are pizza flavors. So I thought that would be good. Okay, and then next I've got some grated Parmesan cheese. You can also just do shredded or you can use a fresh, but I happen to have this tub if I can get it open. Oh my gosh, oh, it's not even open yet. Alrighty then, a nice fresh container of parm. And then a little sprinkling of Parmesan cheese. I am gonna do just a little scotch of salt and pepper over the top of all of these. Just a little bit. You gotta season it. Plus I just think it looks so pretty having the little pepper flakes on there when it bakes. And let's be honest, you know I love my pepper. And then we've got our basil. So don't these look so fun? I just think that this is gonna be festive and delicious. Little 1-biters or maybe 2-biters and easy to eat. I am gonna serve it with a little bit of pizza sauce on the side and some pesto. I thought that would be good for dipping if you know, somebody wants a little extra on their little pizza puff. All right, and this does not have to be perfect, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take two ends of one corner, just one corner, I'm not gonna do both ends, and I'm just gonna fold it into the little pepperoni and tomato. Now, it's not gonna fully stick. I just kind of wanna bring it together a little bit, and then we're gonna brush it with the egg wash. This just gives it kind of a fun shape. You could actually bake it without even doing this. You can just brush the outer edges with the egg wash and not even do this part of it, but it just looks kind of fun and pretty. We eat with our eyes first, and when things look fun, it's more fun to eat. You kind of have to stretch the dough. You can see that. You'll have to like stretch the dough over and then just kind of pinch it together like that. All right, you get the picture. I'm just gonna take my egg wash that I have here and just brush the top with this egg mixture. This will just create a nice little golden brown crispiness, and it'll just make it look really pretty. Okay, so I have my oven set at 360, but I need to pop these in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. I want to make sure that the dough gets chilled before we put it in the oven. That way they come out nice and puffed and golden. Oh my gosh, I just think that these are so adorable. So I put a little bit of pesto on one of them and a little bit of marinara, or pizza sauce actually, to try it. So here we go. They are like perfectly golden and flaky. So delicious, easy to make, and you could even do other things like Canadian bacon, or if you want to fill them with something else that sounds yummy. I think the whole idea is that you have these little like pizza pocket things that are just kind of cute. Okay, I'm really wanting to try it with a pesto. Oh yeah, the pesto is definitely where it's at. You know what else would be really good? A little bit of ranch. These are so fun. I'm really excited for you to try these. And don't be intimidated by the puff pastry dough or having to roll it out. It's really very simple. You just want to make sure to chill it. That is important. Other than that, I think it would be a perfect recipe to make on a Friday night or a movie night, or if you're having some friends over and you're doing game night. I mean, any kind of like fun party night, these are perfect. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video and start planning your next movie night or game night with friends and make some of these awesome appetizers and snacks. Don't forget, all the recipes can be found in the descriptions. And if you're new here, I'd love for you to be part of my YouTube family, so make sure to subscribe. That is it for today. I hope you have a really blessed week, and we will see you next time.